It's a bright morning in New York City, 1929. The roaring 20s are in full swing. People are dancing to jazz, businesses are booming, and the stock market seems like a magic money machine. Everyone is investing. Even your neighborhood shoeshine boy is giving out stock tips. Then, on October 29th, 1929, the music stops. The stock market collapses. Billions vanish overnight. Banks fail. Panic spreads. People rush to withdraw their life savings, only to find out there's nothing left. It's bad. But what happens next makes it worse. Because in a desperate attempt to fix things, the US starts a trade war. And that single decision helps turn a recession into the worst economic disaster in modern history, the Great Depression. It's 1930. With businesses shutting down and unemployment rising, politicians scramble for a solution. Enter Senator Reed Smoot and Congressman Willis Hawley. They propose a simple idea: raise tariffs on imported goods to protect American industries. If foreign products become too expensive, Americans will buy local, factories will stay open, and jobs will be saved. Sounds logical, right? President Herbert Hoover, desperate for a fix, signs the SMOOT-HAWLEY Tariff Act into law. Overnight, thousands of foreign goods become more expensive. The reaction: other countries fight back. Canada, one of America's biggest trade partners, slaps tariffs on US goods. Britain, France, and Germany retaliate with their own trade barriers. Global trade starts shrinking like a wool sweater in hot water. The result? Instead of helping the US economy, the tariffs backfire spectacularly. Factories that depended on exports, bankrupt. Farmers who sold crops overseas, ruined. Businesses relying on imports, crushed. What started as a Wall Street crash has now turned into a global economic meltdown. By 1932, the situation is nightmarish. 1 in 4 Americans is unemployed. Bread lines stretch for blocks. Farmers burn their crops because they're worth less than the cost of shipping them. Meanwhile, in Germany, economic desperation fuels the rise of Hitler. In Britain and France, industries crumble. Latin American economies collapse as US imports dry up. The world is trapped in a vicious cycle. No one is buying, no one is selling, no one is working. The big question now is, how do we fix this? In 1933, a new leader steps in with a bold vision. President Franklin D. Roosevelt launches the New Deal, a sweeping plan to put Americans back to work, reform banks, and pump money into the economy. Bridges, roads, and dams are built. Government programs help stabilize banks. New laws prevent reckless stock market speculation. But Roosevelt knows one thing: America can't recover alone. So behind closed doors, world leaders begin working together to prevent another disaster like this. By the late 1940s, major global institutions are created to stop another Great Depression from happening. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, helps struggling economies. The World Bank funds rebuilding efforts. Trade agreements promote open markets. The World Trade Organization, a WTO, formerly GATT, is established to prevent unfair trade wars. The lesson: trade wars are economic suicide, and when nations stop working together, everyone loses. Fast forward to today. The world has changed, but trade wars are making headlines again. The US and China are imposing tariffs on each other. Brexit has disrupted European trade. Supply chains are strained. Some economists, like Paul Krugman, warn that protectionism could slow economies down. Others, like Milton Friedman, argue that free trade is the only way forward. So is another Great Depression possible? Maybe not in the same way, but global debt is rising, inequality is growing, and history has a habit of repeating itself. So what have we learned? First, trade wars often do more harm than good. Second, a global economy needs global solutions. And third, we must remember the past, or we risk repeating it. Because as they say, history doesn't repeat itself, but it sure does rhyme. What do you think? Could trade wars lead to another economic collapse, or are we better prepared today? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. More thought-provoking content coming your way.